CyberDoc Today I'm gonna do a repair on iPhone 4S battery connector. So first you put a layer of no-cling flux onto the solder pads. To do this repair, you need to have intact solder pads. You can't have missing or broken solder pads. And then I put on the 138 degrees Celsius solder paste from CyberDoc I prefer to use the solder paste for this repair because of its low melting temperature. It melts at 138 degrees Celsius. Instead of the other solder paste, the leaded solder paste. Oh, by the way, this solder paste is lead-free. It does not contain lead. Instead of the traditional solder paste, which is 183 degrees Celsius, and that 50 or 45 degrees Celsius makes a huge difference in this repair, in my opinion. And now you're just mixing the solder paste, and you heat it up. It will become all the little spherical 20 micron, 30 micron sphere solder balls will clump together when you heat it up, and you are basically tinning the pad. So what you want to do is you tin the pad with solder that you put on. Flux it can't really do this without flux. It's very essential for any repair, especially this project. You can use any flux, but if you want to get the same flux or flux similar quality flux, you can get it from CyberDoc from my website. The link is down in the description of this video. But I think any flux would do just fine, as long as you know, not bad flux, get good quality flux. So once you tin the pad, you clean out the flux. Even though this is no clean flux, it gets sticky once it dries. Also, another reason you want to clean because you don't use all the lead paste, the little micron balls from tinning the pad. And if you leave it on the logic board, it would just short something. So you want to clean those. And yeah, wash it off with isopropyl alcohol. The trick is you brush it, you clean it, you brush. You don't want to keep those on your brush either. So you want to dilute it in more isopropyl alcohol. Just drown it in isopropyl alcohol. Eventually, the solution to pollution is dilution. Yeah, don't do that in chemistry lab. But and this is fine. It's lead-free solder. Remember, it's lead-free. So you dilute it with a lot of isopropyl alcohol, and all these little lead-free balls will get washed away, and it will not remain on the logic board anymore. When you do that, you're washing away those solid balls. You really just don't want those solid balls on the logic board. So be careful of the components. You want to keep those away from the solid balls. Okay, so now you're ready. Next step will be putting the flux onto the connections that you want to solder. Put lots of flux on it, and put the battery connector on top. Then you can heat it up with a hot air gun. Since this solder melts at 138 degrees Celsius, you can set your hot air gun to 200 or 250 degrees Celsius. I prefer to go up to 300 degrees Celsius in this repair, or at least 300, because the 200 degree and 250 degrees Celsius temperature I'm talking about right now, it's really the onboard temperature. So you can set your hot air gun a little bit higher than that and still get less than 200 degrees Celsius on the larger board. So it's really the onboard temperature, not how much the temperature set out your hot air gun. I set mine to 300. Okay, so now you put some flux on. You need flux for reworks. I can't stress that enough, and you need good quality flux. Using a bad flux will just slow you down and probably break something, because the flux doesn't make a very good. If you have bad flux, it doesn't make it's not very wettable for the metal to join together and prevent oxidation and all that stuff. So now I'm moving my larger board to the edge of my table because I'm going to place my hot air gun right underneath it. This is the hot air band method. You basically drawn this area under hot air. And you want the hot air to reach above 138 or 140 degrees Celsius on the larger board to melt the solder, and then you're done, I guess. You just need to melt the solder. There's no clean flux, which you can get from CyberDoc It's good because its vaporization temperature is around 240, 270 degrees Celsius. So you don't need to worry about burning the larger board, because before that happens, the flux will evaporate. And when it does evaporate, it makes smokes. And only when the flux is completely burned off on your board, which not likely because I put so much flux on it, then you start getting, over 300 degrees Celsius on the larger board, and you might damage something. Even then, you just might damage something. So as long as you have enough flux on it, you don't need to, and you see it is not being burned off. You don't need to worry about the temperature too much because it's not quite anywhere close to 300 degrees Celsius. So yeah, that's a little trick. If you know your flux chemistry on the particular flux you're using, it helps for you to gauge like what's the temperature on the larger board right now. But if you're unfamiliar with your flux, or you got a really bad flux that burns out really quickly, then that won't work for you. So I like to wiggle my components. I get comments about me fettling on too much, but you need to do this because you can't just melt the alloy and the solder paste. You have to wiggle a little bit just to get the pins melted with the connectors, solder joints. So yeah, and also I'm doing this as a tutorial video, and I want you guys to be able to see this. Okay, so you see the flux is being evaporating, it's making little bubbles. That's good. That means this temperature it's around 200 something degrees Celsius, which is so much higher than what I want, or perfect actually for soldering this. And you still have flux on the board. I mean, the board was never over that temperature. It's always under like 200 something degrees Celsius. So that's it. That's done. That was pretty easy. The important thing about this method is that doing this will make sure that the two retaining connection, the two solder connection in the back, which is very important. Without those two being soldered onto the board, this connector will get ripped right off on the board because it's not evenly soldered on. So if you only had a soldering iron, you didn't have a higher gun, and you didn't have this 138 degrees Celsius solder paste from CyberDoc you're gonna have a hard time to keep this connector on the board from basic everyday use. Well, not everyday use, but from putting a connector on and taking it off, you'll break it. Another way to do this without this method, it's use super glue to glue the connector. Once you're done, you glue the connector onto the logic board. The downside of that is, what if the connector break again? And it will be very difficult for you to break the super glue off without damaging the tracks that's on the logic board. So it's okay. I mean, the solid paste is not that expensive, and flux you can use any flux, or you can use all flux. But if you do use super glue, just be careful with super glue. Don't use too much, otherwise you're gonna get like it's gonna frost and it's gonna be a mess. So just use a little bit